Let's see this. Do. Uh, while we wait, might as well just chill. Once it hits to like 120, that's when I'm going to. I mean, I guess once we hit to like 5 people, maybe like 10. Sup, Shadow? I'm just waiting for, I guess 5 or like 10 people. And then we're going to start the episode 2 of Keyshawn Unstoppable, or you could say Keyshawn Uchiha Unstoppable. Yeah, episode 2. Title, Ninjas, question mark. Pretty funny. But yeah. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, pretty much. Let me see this. Can Sup, sir? Sup, Jones? We're just waiting, right? We're just right now waiting for everybody. So, I mean, up to 5, and then we should get started. But if we don't get to 5, then I guess I just started up of a live broadcast. I mean, once I get like 3 minutes in the thing, live chat, that's when I'm gonna get inside. I mean, gets to it. Yeah, sure. If I can do it. Oh shit. I don't know if I can do it or not. If I can't do it, then I mean, if I can't do it, then it's pretty sucky. I'll try to find them out later. All right, I can't do it. Oh, sorry. All right, all right. It's time to get started. In 3, 2, 1, go on. What's up, guys? Whoever's in the broadcast, thanks for joining in. This will be episode 2 of Keyshawn Unstoppable. Uh, yeah, episode 2. Title: Ninjas? Question mark. Pretty much this will be basically my adventures of me going into other universes, doing shenanigans, or just helping out people, or just doing random stuff. But further ado, let's get started. We start off with Keisha and Chia, pretty much going around the universe again. Pretty much just going through this searching around, going around dimensions, seeing things that many things happened before, seeing Naruto, Deku, in many different versions of themselves, becoming heroes, villains, demons, psychomaniacs, rapists, killers. He starts to ponder to himself, why? Why does he does this stuff to constantly see universes get made? Oh, what is this series? Well, I can do a pause right now. What is the series? The series is basically about me just like going in alternate universes and stuff. Mostly my alternate universes or other people alternate universes is doing genetics, doing like shenanigans, funness, or just like killing off main protagonists or not killing off main protagonists, or just doing a lot of stuff that you might mostly see. Maybe some 18+ parts, maybe not. Oh, sup anime, sup Jerry. I'm right now just about to get back to the thing, but let's zone back. Yeah, let's continue. So yeah, oh no problem with the shout out, but let me continue. Uh, how was that? Yeah, pretty much. 1930. Shadow Archer Goobers. All right, thanks. Uh, this is where yeah, shit. Let me continue my seriousness. Keishan Uchiha thinks to himself, why does he constantly look through these dimensions? Why does he go there? Why does he constantly do this stuff. And so he thinks because he can. And he smiles and says, let's see, this is where Keyshawn falls into another dimension. Doing a random dimension jump, and he falls into 1930, the Deku universe, or should I say the Shadow Deku universe. He falls down in the water. Well, in a pool of water, pretty much climbing out, feeling soaked, and pretty much cleaning out his hair. This is where he thinks to himself, damn, I kinda did it over again. I need to really learn how to stick my landing. Which this is where, of course, this is where the well, Keyshawn walks out the building and looks around, and everything looks quite different. Not normal, but quite different, as you could say. He begins to walk around the street, trying to look for a newspaper to see what is this universe. And he around again. This is where, of course, you see a hero trying to help by trying to stop the villain. The villain starts to go crazy and say, "Back up or I shoot," which a pro hero is basically trying to calm down this villain, or you could say this criminal, and basically trying to talk him down. Now, calm down, sir. We can pretty much talk this out. This is where the villain points the gun at the hero and pretty much shoots, which the hero has a deflection quirk. It pretty much deflects the bullet. But of course, the bullet hits the woman, and the criminal starts running away, realizing what happened. Now, of course, this is where the pro hero begins to start running to the woman and trying to save her and trying to call an ambulance because, of course, he doesn't have the quirk requirement to save her. Of course, this is where Kishan walks in, begins to heal her, takes out the bullet and heals her. Now, of course, this is where the pro hero thinks is Kishan and asks what is his name. This is where Kishan looks at him and says, "My name is not important. You're not going to remember unless I want you to." It pretty much teleports away. Now, of course, this is where Kishan's up a rooftop, pretty much looking around in his boredom, thinking, what else can he do? Or what ruckus can he make? This is where, of course, he sees Deku. Oh, this is where, of course, he sees Deku. He begins to about to walk to Deku to pretty much talk to him until he sees someone, and it's Shadow Archer. And Shadow Archer is pretty much fighting Nazis, which this is where Keyshawn looks and says, "This looks a little bit of a question mark." Which this is where he goes and meets with Shadow Archer and asks, "What's up?" Which this is where Shadow Archer is in confusion and pretty much saying, "Who are you?" But pretty much dodges a bullet, which Keyshawn pretty much jumps to say, holy shit, those are bullets." Which pretty much this is where Shadow Archer grabs Keyshawn and tells him to duck, while he's pretty much shooting arrows at the Nazis, killing one by one. Does he have a shotgun yet? Guys, let me tell the story. But this is where Shadow Archer arrows at the Nazis and pretty much ducking. Now, of course, this is where I ask Shadow Archer what's he doing, pretty much making a smile, which Shadow Archer says, "Now is not the time to ask questions. I'm right now trying to stop these Nazis from trying to take over this certain part," which this is, of course, I say, "Well, can I help out?" Which Shadow Archer says, "I don't think you can much help," which I pretty much stands up and walks in the Nazi way. Of course, this is where the Nazis are shooting at bullets at me. I pretty much just, you could say, time erase. Now, as I'm time erasing, this is where I appear one right behind a Nazi and pierce through him, pretty much catching his heart and crushing it. Now, of course, as I crush his heart, this is where another Nazi is speaking in, you could say, Nazi language and starts shooting at me. This is where, of course, I just dodge all the bullets and snaps his neck. Now, of course, this is where Shadow Archer helps out with the other Nazi who has a rocket launcher and shoots him in the head, killing him on sight. After that, we pretty much talk to each other and ask him why is he hunting down Nazi. He pretty much explains that he's a detective and pretty much he's here to investigate about Hitler's plans because we're gonna say Hitler is still alive. Well, you could say still alive as a robot mechanical way. and begins to start saying that he's on notification to see where's Hitler location at, and to pretty much stop him and ends his plans once and for all. Of course, this is where I smile and ask can I join him on his adventure. Ask Shadow Archer to pretty much to join him on his adventure, which this is where of course Shadow Archer agrees and pretty much says that they have to pretty much gear up. Now, of course, this is where Shadow Archer asks me to change his name into pretty much Hawkeye, which I pretty much say, okay, Hawkeye, which he pretty much grabs the Tommy guns and he pretty much hands one off to me. And he says, I have to change up my look because I look out of the ordinary, which I say, all right, and I dress up in a suit with a, you could say, top hat. Now, this is where we pretty much find a location where he thinks Hitler is at, and we bust open the doors and fire Thompsons at all the Nazis. Now, of course, all the Nazis are getting hit by it and all dying one by one. Until you could say ninjas start throwing shurikens at me and Hawkeye. Now, me and Hawkeye jumps away. Pretty much, I see one jump down, and you could say one pretty much looks at me with, you could say, the eye, which I pretty much say, what are you looking at, ninja? Which the ninja pretty much pulls out his blade and pretty much has his three ninja stars and throws it at me. This is where, of course, I dodges and Hawkeye begins to fire more bullets at them, which the ninjas will pretty much start deflecting or jumping away. This is where I pretty much say, well, I kind of want to be a show off. And I pretty much activate my Sharingans, or you could say my Galaxy Sharingan eyes. Now, of course, this is where the ninjas are in confusion and begins to start throwing shuriken stars at me, which I pretty much just dodged them with ease and pretty much grab the shurikens and throw them back at the ninja, pretty much killing him on that sight. Of course, this is where the other ninja is pretty much trying to brace himself with. I pretty much appear in front of him, cutting his throat open, making the blood gush. Now, after that, this is where I go to the last ninja and pretty much use the branches and light him down, or you could say hold him down. Now, as I hold him down, this is where, of course, the ninjas are all well. Sorry, after I hold down the ninja, this is where Hawkeye begins to question the ninja, which the ninja only speaks Japanese. Now, after that, this is where, of course, the ninja explains to me where's Hitler at, and pretty much he's with someone, which he pretty much explains it's with the number one villain, or you could say all for one. Now, of course, this is where I say all for one. What would Hitler do with all for one? Which also Hawkeye is questioning that too, which he pretty much said we better get out of here. Which I pretty much said, but first I kill the ninja. Now, as me and Hawkeye's leaving, this is where Hawkeye asks me who I really am. Which I begin to say, is it really important? Which he says, yes, if you want to continue following me. Now, this is where Hawkeye listens to me and I explains to him about the whole me becoming a galaxy me basically a galaxy god and hopping in other dimensions and stuff and kind of like to alternate universes and stuff and doing wherever I want. This is where Hawkeye say kind of like D4C, which I look at Hawkeye with the most goofiest look and say, Hawkeye, you remind me of someone who just said that, who said D4C, which you know who you are if you're that person who did that before, who said D4C in my comments. But yeah, basically he says that, which I pretty much smile and laugh and say, yeah, kind of like D4C. Now, of course, this is where me Hawkeye heads back to his base, and he's pretty much you could say sitting down, and I'm sitting down. He's finding another location, which this is the last location. Now, this is right about the same arc where me and Hawkeye is right now going at the same location where Deku and his, you could say, friends and heroes trying to rescue Bakugo. Now, this is where me and Hawkeye get ready, and I pretty much say, "Wait, hold on," and I pretty much tap him in the forehead, which he pretty much says, "Which you give to me," which I pretty much say, "I give you my blessing. I give you my Sharingan eyes," which Hawkeye say, "Sharingan eyes, the Galaxy Sharingan eyes," which I pretty much say, "Yeah, it has a lot of stuff," which you'll know automatically because I gave you all the capabilities what you can do with it. Which he pretty much say, "All right," and we heads out. As we heading out, this is where me and Hawkeye go and pretty much confront Hitler. Now, this is where Hitler is pretty much with All For One, which All For One is pretty much what Hitler saying. Well, you could say Hitler is talking like on nine and all that crap and Nazi. I don't know how to speak Nazi, but pretty much he pretty much All For One is pretty much explaining that him and Hitler is going to basically rule over the whole My Hero Academia and pretty much inhabit the age of villainy, or you could say the age of power. This is where, of course, I stop him, say, yeah, if you're going to have that power, you and Hitler is not going to try to ever take over this alternate universe. Now, of course, this is where, this is where we're going to say Anime, or you could say J Anime, jumps in and pretty much hops in the alternate universe and pretty much says that he's coming to help out. Now, of course, I tell Anime, what the hell are you doing here? You're supposed to be you're supposed to be doing your videos and stuff and talking about your things and doing what if decus and making more dimensions. Now, of course, this is where Anime say to me that he will get to it, and I pretty much say it's okay, and we pretty much all work together to fight Hitler. Now, of course, now as Hitler's pretty much using his robot machine gun body parts and firing at us. This is where I'm pretty much dodging it with quick ease and Hawkeye's, of course, shooting the using his revolver, the 44 Magnum revolver, shooting at Hitler's vulnerable points, pretty much disabling the weapons. Now, of course, this is where Hawkeye say he got Hitler, and pretty much he teleports to Hitler and teleport him away. And this is where me and Anime is getting in a fighting stance to fight off one. Now, of course, before we fight off one, this is where Loot pretty much appears. I pretty much summon Loot and say, "Hey, Loot, you wanna join this kicking All Might's ass?" Which Loot pretty much says, "All right." Now, as me and Loot and you could say everybody else, or you could say Loot Taker and Sir, or you could say Jones, pretty much jump in and we all start to, you could say, beat the absolutely shit out of all for one. Pretty much, Jones pretty much grabs him, using his stretch arms, grabs all for one, and pretty much lips him flying. Now, as he's flying, he pretty much, pretty much, Hawkeye peers back and fired Thompson gun at people. Fire Thompson at Offhorn, which Offhorn gets shots by bullets. I'm doing live. I'm doing a live thing. Yeah, just me. Yeah. After uh Hawkeye fires 1,000 Thompson bullets at Offhorn, this is where I begins to heal Offhorn up, and pretty much Jones jumps in the air and kicks All Might, not All Might, Offhorn down to the ground. Now, of course, Enemy, he appears, teleporting, kicking him, sending him flying, we're going to say a few meters away, which I pretty much teleport, and grabs him and pretty much throws him to the ground. Kind of like the scene as Brawly. Kind of use that arm strength and like send him more flying meters. Now, of course, this is where Loot Taker pretty much puts him in chains and kicks him down to the ground, pretty much locking him in place. Now, this is where you could say all for one's pretty much ass is handed to him, and we pretty much look at him. Now, of course, as I'm about to do the finishing blow, this is where All Might tells me to stop, and this is not the right way to do. Now, this is where, of course, I say, "All right," but I still stump on all. I still step on his head, killing him. Which All Might says no. Which I pretty much say, and he was about to break free anyways. in like season whatever and try to kill you again. So you're welcome. Now, of course, this is where J. Edame pretty much takes off one's body and say, "This can be used for my research and a what if," and pretty much for a new universe, and pretty much puts up his glasses with his ghoul eyes, which he transformed his eyes into ghouls with ghoul's eyes, and pretty much take his body and disappear. So All Might or Midoriya can ever bury the body, and I just pretty much get out of there and tell Hawkeye to enjoy the great Galaxy Sharingan eyes, and pretty much leave, or you could say the universe where J Enemy is at, and I talk to him. Begins to ask him what he's going to do with the body, which he begins to have his ghoul eyes showing again. But his ghoul eyes is a unique ghoul eyes, as it's golden. It's like black and golden, as his eyes is gold and black. Now, after that, this is where sorry about that, guys. Uh, sorry about that, guys. But let's continue. Oh yeah. Yeah. So after that, this is where I asked Anime J about what he's gonna do with research, which he pretty much have golden eyes, kind of like the ghoul eyes, but has a golden ring to it. Well, golden eyes. He begins to say that he's going to make the ghoul much stronger and make a child that's much more powerful. Which this is where I say, okay, just make sure to not try to take over a universe that's not yours. Which he says, I promise. Which his fingers is crossed, which he's basically lying off his ass. But I I basically know he is, but I basically just don't care. This is where of course this is where of course I go and talk to Jones. Sir Jalen Jones. And I talk to him and say, Jones, do you think you want to help me for something and give someone a blessing of your powers? Which Jones says, "What you mean my god tier? You mean my stretch powers? Or you could say my god tier stretch powers?" Which this is where I say, "Yes, of course. I need you to help me with something to give someone a god bless stretch." Now, of course, this is where this is where thank you. This is where after that I pretty much talk to Jones and tells him to universe, which this is where Jones appears, and this is where we see a you could say a 5-year-old Naruto, which Naruto Mr. Search, Mr. Search, Mr. Search pretty much says what we doing here with Naruto, a 5-year-old Naruto in this universe, which this is universe section 20202. So keep that in mind. Write that down for research. So yeah, that's the crazy one. This is where this is a 5-year Naruto that's really hated by the village. Like no one loves him. Everybody wants him dead, including Kakashi. Sometimes Kakashi want to get a piece out of Naruto. That's how bad it is. This is where, of course, I talk to Mister Search and I say, give him your power. Bless him your power, the stretch power. Trust me, he's gonna need it. Which this is where Naruto says, "Who are y'all?" Which Mister Search gives him the power. Now, after Mr. Search gives him the power, this is where Taker comes in and says that he wants to give him his power too, which he gives him the shadow power, or the power of the shadows, you could say. Which this is where Naruto says what they gave him, which I pretty much wink and says you will see. Now, this is episode 2 of pretty much Keishan Unstoppable. If you want to see the part or see the you could say the part of the part 1 of Naruto, what if Naruto had Mr. Search powers and Mr. Taker powers, please make sure to you know text in the comments or basically just hit this up to 10 likes and I will do it. But I'm Keishan Chia. Thanks for watching this lovable good episode 2 of Keishan Unstoppable. I'm Keishan Chia. Thanks for watching and see y'all later.